G'day guys, I'm Ben from TPS and today we're going to do an unboxing video of our brand new product, the TPS Ranger. We're very excited to be able to share this with you, and what I want to do today is show you the product and show you some of the features that are going to be really helpful to be used in the field. So first things first, the TPS Ranger comes in this nice recyclable cardboard box. Comes presented like this, so in a nice molded case. Very nice looking. We'll come back to what's in the box later. So this is the product itself. This is the Ranger. So this is designed for field work, doing water quality measurements in the field. It's designed to be rugged and tough, designed here in Australia. So a couple of things to point out. It's IP67 waterproof all the way around, from top to bottom, inside out. You don't need rubber plugs. You don't need to have things connected for it to still be waterproof. So starting at the top of the instrument, this is where the sensors are connected. Obviously, we've got some snap caps here that just come off really easily. These connections are still waterproof even when there's no sensor connected. So that's really neat. So those pop off quite easily. The product has been designed to be serviceable. So if the top part of this instrument was going to be damaged, then we could potentially just replace that top cap and get that fixed and repaired really quickly. One of the advantages is we are Australian made, so we do all the servicing here in Australia. So we're thinking about these things, and a lot of that went into the design. The bottom part of the instrument is where the charger is connected, which I'll show you the cable for that later. So the charging is done magnetically. It's held in place magnetically, so fully waterproof. It's not going to be damaged. There's no cross-threading of connectors and things like that. And same thing, if the lower part of this instrument was damaged in some way or wrecked, that could be replaced as well. A couple of other things to point out about the instrument. It's got a Gorilla Glass screen, so fully waterproof, fully readable in the sunlight. When we get outside into the full sun, you can actually see all the numbers that you need to see on the screen. So low glare and all that sort of thing. And really simple layout for the buttons, which we'll get into in a minute. So awesome bit of kit for the Ranger. So in the box with the Ranger comes your wall charger and charge cable and wall plug, so that's all included in with it. The charge cable is, as I said, is magnetic, so that just clips on the end here like that. So if someone trips or falls or whatever and yanks on it, it's not going to get busted. That connects to the wall charger. It is USB-C. Which is going to enable data download as well, which we'll come to later in the demo as well. So a couple of things, I'm just going to turn this on straight away so you can see on the screen the instrument. Turns on pretty quickly. The default mode is white mode for the background, so I'm just actually going to jump in and change that straight away because I really love the new dark mode. So you can see it's nicer to read. So first things first, it's telling us to connect a sensor. So the connectors for the Ranger are all the same. So the cables are all separate from the sensors. So they all use the same type of connector, and it doesn't matter which plug you plug into, it's going to pick it up and it's going to detect that automatically. It doesn't matter if it's pH or EC, there's no particular channel, you just plug in whichever one you want. So we'll go ahead and we'll actually unbox one of these sensors. So we've got a pH sensor here to look at first. So a couple of things about the sensor design as well. So all the sensors are designed in the same way, in the sense that they've got the same type of connectors. They've got a coloured ring to identify what the parameter is, which we'll see on the screen in a minute as well. The top part of the sensor is where all the smarts are. So this actually stores calibration. So you can move your sensors from one instrument to another instrument. You don't have to recalibrate. All the sensors come with this nice cover to keep them safe and protected. Naturally, from the factory, you get a wetting cap for your pH, which you can remove and discard. There's the caps here are made with a sponge inside, so that'll double as your wetting cap as well when that's in use. So all we have to do is plug in the cable to the sensor. There are different cable lengths as well, so those are completely optional. You can swap and change them as you need. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. You'll notice straight away the sensor is flashing. That's to let you know it's stabilizing. So here on the screen, We can see that the readings have come up straight away. It's detected that it's pH. It's giving us the pH reading, and we've also got a secondary display for millivolts. You can see the nice big icon to show you that its pH is connected, and the channel and the temperature as well. So all that information is on the screen. Now, on the screen also it shows you when the sensor was last calibrated and what it was calibrated with. So this really helps you when you're actually using the instrument to know what the history of it is and what's happened to it. So pH is a standard double junction pH sensor, but with built-in health tracking to monitor the health of the pH sensor. So it's going to let you know if it starts to decline. And as I said, the calibration is stored on there as well. Built-in temperature into the pH, so you don't need a separate temperature sensor. And so, yeah, that's the pH. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep going and plugging in some more of the sensors that we have available. So ORP, similar design to the ORP sensor. It's got the same cover. Chuck that off. You can see the ORP sensor there. Double junction design, built-in temperature, health tracking. It's got a platinum disc design for the ORP reading. And if we grab a cable, we can go ahead and plug this in. These caps just snap into place. And you'll see on the screen when I plug it in, it's going to update the display on the right spot there. So it automatically updates to show the reading. So we can see on that screen there that you've got your pH and your ORP, coloured rings to identify what it is. And same with the ORP, it's got information about the temperature and the previous calibration and so on. So that's them. Now, one of the things that we're very excited about for the TPS Ranger is our EC sensor. So this is a solid graphite sensor with a bullseye sensor technology built into it. What that essentially means is that it's wide ranging. So for this sensor, you can take readings at low conductivity in your fresh water or whatever, and you can continue to take readings as you get higher up in the salinity content up until seawater and above, all with the same sensor. Now that saves you a lot of time and money. You don't have to have separate sensors for different ranges, which some designs require. You can also calibrate the EC at multiple points. So you can calibrate them at that different point. So when you're out in the field, you don't have to kind of do a recalibration when you go to use the EC in those higher conductivity ranges. So I'm just going to grab a third cable, which I've got here, and plug this in, and you'll see that the EC reading will update as well on the screen. So go ahead and plug that in there just for the sake to see how easy it is. So yep, light's connected, and you can see here that yep, the EC is initializing, it's getting the reading and the information from the sensor, that's displaying on the screen. So very, very easy for the end user to see exactly what's connected, what's not connected, what's getting used, what's not getting used, the history of it, all that kind of information is there. Very straightforward and easy to use. And of course, because the calibration is saved on the sensors themselves, one of the advantages of that is that if you're out in the field, you're doing field work and something goes wrong, the sensor that you're using goes out of calibration or it gets damaged in some way, you can have a spare sensor in your kit that you've already calibrated back in the office and just swap it out for the new one that you need. So that saves you a lot of time. You don't have to do recalibration in the field or anything like that at all. So the other sensor that we've got is dissolved oxygen. So this is a big step for TPS to move to an optical dissolved oxygen sensor. I'll take that cover off. You can see here that is dissolved oxygen with an optical sensor. So the sensing membrane is here. That's replaceable. Should last about 2 years of sort of average use. And then if you need to, you can just remove that cap and replace it with a new one. So way simple to use, no need for liquids, there's no bubbles involved, there's no membranes and O-rings and all other kind of maintenance that other types of dissolved oxygen sensors use. And yeah, really simple for the end user to operate. So I'm going to take off the ORP sensor and plug this one in. and you can see on the screen automatically updated to show the dissolved oxygen reading. Takes a couple of seconds to initialize that, but as you can see, it's a piece of cake to swap and change sensors as needed. You don't have to recalibrate them when you move between instruments. You can have them stored away and just plug them in as you need them. So that is the Ranger in a nutshell. At the moment, we have 3 ports for connections for any of the parameters. We have plans to bring out different designs for pH sensors as needed, turbidity sensors, and a roadmap for more products in the future. A couple of things to point out. So on the instrument itself, it's really easy to operate and navigate. So we can just jump into settings and quickly go and see any particular setting that we want to see for particular reading, and just jump back to the measurement screen to see that change affected if we needed to. In order to capture data, all we have to do is press the data capture button. So just press this once, and that just grabs the data that's on the screen. If we wanted to, we could hold down that button for a couple of seconds and actually engage data logging. So when I press that, it goes ahead and starts logging the readings off those probes, and then we can pull them off later. So it's really, really easy to use, very intuitive, simple for your staff to pick up and actually just use it. We designed it to be so easy. You don't really need a manual to actually explain how to use the instrument. And calibration is saved on the sensors, obviously, and with health tracking as well. So when you go ahead to do a calibration, you can see the history of the sensor and when it was previously calibrated and what was used to calibrate it. And you can also see the health status of the sensor as well. One more thing to point out about the instrument, as I mentioned, we've got the charge data cable, which plugs in down the bottom there. Because that just terminates in a USB-C to plug into your laptop or computer, means a couple of things. You can charge it in the field, so you could charge this on your laptop if you needed to, or on a power bank if you had one of them, you're out in the field and you needed that. The battery life of the instrument is about a week of average use, and only takes about 2 hours of charging to get to 80% of a full charge. When you go to actually download the data, all you have to do is plug this into your computer, and it comes up like a thumb drive, and you can just drag and drop the CSV files from the device onto your computer. And those spreadsheets will have all the information, all the logs, the serial numbers, the calibration history, all that stuff is recorded in those files. So you don't need special software. You don't have to buy a different sort of cable in order to be able to connect the data. It just connects through the same cable that you do your charging through. And another point on that is the fact that we have designed the Ranger to be able to have updatable software. So in the future, as we bring out improvements and new sensors to be able to add to the range and so on, the end user will actually be able to jump on the TPS website, download a file with the updated software, and literally just drag and drop it across onto the device. It'll then go through its process and update its software, and then hey presto, you've got the new software. Don't need to send it in for service, don't need to send it to a technician to be able to update that software. The end user can actually do that themselves. So it's very, very flexible. The different cable lengths, we've got 3 meters, we've got 5 meters, we've got 10 meter cable lengths that the end user can use for the instrument. These can all be connected interdependently, differently. You could have 3 pH sensors all plugged in at the same time if you wanted to. You could have different cable lengths plugged in at the same time if you wanted to. You can chop and change what's plugged into the instrument at any time. So if you only need to take a reading with one parameter, take a reading with one parameter. And then if you need 2 or 3, you plug them in as needed. So it's very flexible and useful from that perspective of not locking you into a certain configuration. Which means that as sensors come along that get developed, you don't have to buy a whole new instrument to actually use those sensors. When Turbidity becomes available, you can just purchase that and then actually plug it in and just use that straight away. A couple of other things to point out. So we do have, as an accessory, we've got a silicone sleeve to help keep the Ranger protected from bumps and scratches. That's not needed for waterproofing, so it's fully waterproof without any changes or adjustments to be made, but just helps for bumps and knocks and scratches and things. And then one of the other things that we have is we've designed a carry case to actually fit fit the Ranger with all the sensors. So because we're Australian made and we do all our own servicing of our products, we see what end users do with their instruments and their sensors and cables and everything. So we've actually designed this carry case specifically to fit the Ranger, fit the sensors inside, and we've actually designed this nice cavity to actually put all the cables. So you don't have to unplug the sensors to be able to pack it away when you're in the field. You just put it in there and throw your sensors in and close the lid, and it'll just work for you without mess or any issues like that. So yeah, thank you for your attention. This is a very exciting product for us to be able to share with you. And if you have any interest or inquiries, you want to know more, please get in touch with me and the team at TPS, and we'll be happy to tell you all about it.